So another place to visit is the Notre Dame Cathedral. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing good. My name is Efe and I bring to you content that has to do with lifestyle, travel, motherhood and everything in between. So today we're going to be talking about Paris. Paris is an absolutely magical city in France. So Paris is the capital of France and it is such a beautiful city. And I know it's been a while that I've brought to you a travel video and I said, what best time to talk about Paris when we're getting to the end of the year, because there's certain seasons that you can visit Paris, which makes it even better and more magical and creates a more well-rounded experience. So let's get into tips about Paris and some fun facts that Paris has to offer. So Paris has always been known as the city of love. Everything about Paris has to do with its rich culture, its diversity. Paris has a long history of appealing to tourists worldwide visiting that city every year because of the magical and the absolutely beautiful sights and sounds that Paris has to offer. So Paris is also the center of the French economy, politics, traffic, and of course the beautiful culture. So they just don't have the best crepes. And Paris is definitely more about visiting Eiffel Tower. There are lots of sites to visit in Paris. And for tourists, it's always good to plan where you are interested in visiting before you actually get on that journey, because when you arrive, it can get overwhelming when you really want to pack in a lot of places to visit in Paris. So it's always good to have a clear itinerary of where you want to go and obviously realistic goals, because the city is so beautiful that you literally just want to go everywhere within the first couple of days, but obviously that's not possible. So it's good to have a very good, clear, practical itinerary of places you would want to visit, and that would serve as your guide and you tick them off as you visit each place. The City of Lights is one of the most fascinating European cities, and this is not just because of its architecture, its beautiful art, the deep history, and of course the fact that it lures tourists worldwide every year to gaze upon its absolutely natural beauty. So we're going to be talking about a few sites that would be absolutely amazing for you to visit. And we're also going to talk about the downsides of visiting Paris and what you should prepare for when you do visit, because it definitely goes beyond visiting these beautiful historical sites. So the first place we're going to be talking about today, obviously, is the Eiffel Tower. So my dad was in the army and he always used to tell me that the Eiffel Tower was one of the monuments that Parisians protected during the Second World War. The Eiffel Tower is 324 meters tall, and at its construction, it was the tallest monument of the world. The Eiffel Tower is an iconic masterpiece of Paris. In fact, it's become one of the monumental beauties that that country has to offer. The other side of the Eiffel Tower is it was actually not supposed to be a permanent fixture that obviously has become such an amazing touristic site. It was supposed to actually be a temporary monument, and it was France's way of demonstrating its superior technology and construction skills. So when it was constructed in 1889, most of the residents of Paris actually didn't like it. They felt it was an eyesore, they felt it was ugly, and they felt it was sort of taken away from the natural beauty the city had to offer. I mean, the media even called it a useless monstrosity. But my advice is, if you do want to get a proper picture of the Eiffel Tower, you're better off taking a picture from a very far angle, because almost like in the middle of the city, which can sort of give you that deep appreciation of the entire structure. So the Eiffel Tower also has a lift on the inside. It might not look like it has a lift, but it's got a lift on the inside. It's got restaurants on the inside as well. And on the very, very tip top of the Eiffel Tower, you have all the flags of the countries of the world, you know, and it was amazing. Obviously, when I went there, I went up to the tippy top and I saw my country's flag, which made me feel really happy. Yeah, you get to see an amazing view, but it's not as beautiful or scenic as a view as you would get in Montparnasse. So another place, which is the Louvre. The Louvre is an absolutely beautiful museum, and it has over 9 million visitors every year, which makes it one of the most visited museums worldwide. So it's not only home to the famous Mona Lisa, has her home inside the Louvre, but it boasts of over 35,000 beautiful arts on display. Now, that's not all the museum has to offer. It has over close to 500,000 arts in its entire collection. So I would advise that when you go there, try to arrive early because you have lots. It can get quite busy, especially at specific times of the year. You have to arrive early so that way you can wait in line, because yes, it can get crowded up to the point where there's a long line of people queuing up to enter into this beautiful masterpiece. So it would help to get there early. There are a lot of tickets that you can actually book online without having to go there, and you might actually get a discount if you book well in advance. So another place to visit is the Notre Cathedral. Now, this is a beautiful, iconic church. It's over 800 years old. You know the little statues in the movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame? These statues are actually in the actual building, and it was just incredible and amazing to see in real life. The cathedral receives 12 million visitors each year. Visitors come to see the intricate interior, the stunning architectural design, and all of the monuments that has been preserved over centuries. One of the things I noticed back then was we were not allowed to carry cameras inside because they had to find a way to preserve all of the monuments on the inside. In April 2019, the cathedral suffered from a fire, and that incident reduced the amount of tourists that visit on a yearly basis, but it is still one of the most beautiful, iconic churches that the city has to offer. Notre Dame's largest bell is called Emmanuel, and this bell it's a 13-ton bell, and the King Louis XIV had requested the bell to be named Emmanuel in 1681. Luckily, the bell survived the fire, and there are also a few other bells there that are named very interesting names: Gabriel, Marie, and Marcel. So the Seine River runs through the oldest part of the city, and this river more or less divides the city into two parts. So you've got the left bank of the river and the right bank. It is such a beautiful, the left bank and the right bank is so beautiful. And when you're on one of them, you can actually see right across the other. It is so beautiful. Of course, we have to talk about Disneyland Paris. Disneyland Paris is an amazing theme park located just off. It's not actually in the city of Paris. It's a bit further off the city. And Disneyland Paris actually attracts over 11 million visitors per year. It opened in 1992, and you have all of the replicas, everything that the Florida Disneyland has to offer. It was just incredible to see Goofy. It was incredible to see all of the Disney characters, Cinderella. And the beautiful thing about it is they have the parade. So it's always a good thing to plan to set off early, so that way you don't miss out on any of the itinerary of goodies that it has to offer. They have this parade where all the Disney characters would walk down call it like a yellow brick road, and it's just so amazingly beautiful. I don't think you can actually go through all of the rides, but at least if you plan to set off early and obviously get your tickets in advance, if you can afford to buy tickets that sort of beat some of the queues, that would also help to speed up all of your experiences, and that way you get to experience more of the attractions than you would if you had to spend a lot of time queuing. So another fun fact about Disneyland Paris is a colony of feral cats live there, although they tend to hide and sleep during the day, but you just might be lucky to spot one. Now we're going to be talking about the Arc de Triomphe. The Arc de Triomphe is a beautiful monumental fixture in the city of Paris. I love the fact that Paris is just so magical. I mean, like, there are just so many places to visit. People do have or suffer from the Paris syndrome, where they go into the city and get a little bit disappointed that the city doesn't look like what they'd imagine it to be or what they'd seen on TV or social media. Of course, the reality is Paris is a big city, so it obviously has the parts where a lot of tourists are attracted to. It also has the big city syndrome, which it has areas that are not so pleasant. It has areas that would have a lot of crowds, bad garbage, and all of that. I don't think we should dwell too much on the Paris syndrome. There are definitely tips I'm going to be sharing at the end of this video that would help to, one, reduce the Paris syndrome, and two, make your stay in Paris much more enjoyable. The Arc de Triomphe, what many people don't know is how long it took to build. Napoleon commissioned the renowned Arc de Triomphe in 1806 to celebrate the Grand Army. It was completed 30 years later in 1836. The Arc de Triomphe is just so beautiful. When I visited Paris, it's actually quite tempting for you to cross the road and just approach the Arc de Triomphe, but I don't think that's advisable. There's safer ways to get there. I think it's got like an underground tunnel that you can use, but I didn't really go close to it because I couldn't cross the road. It's like a roundabout close to the road where there are lots of cars driving past. So I don't think that's the safest way to get there. But even from the distance I stood, it was just so beautiful. And remember, when you're coming from Place de la Concorde, you go literally down that road where that has got Sephora. So you're enjoying all of these shops, and the Arc de Triomphe is right at the end of the road, looming in its beauty and approaching you as you gradually make your way down the street. So Arc de Triomphe definitely is somewhere you need to visit when you do get a chance to go to La City called Paris. So we're also going to be talking about the Pont Neuf. I hope I'm pronouncing these words very well. So we're also going to be talking about the Pont Neuf, which is the oldest bridge in Paris. So the bridge connects the 1st and the 6th arrondissement, connecting Ile de la Cité to the rest of Paris. So one thing you need to understand is Paris is divided into 20 arrondissements. So the arrondissements are basically suburbs and not suburbs. They're basically different parts of the city that have their own town hall, their own town centers. It's just basically different areas, which is put on the map, and you have like 20 different areas. You don't need to remember what each number is, but when you're visiting, it helps to actually stay, if it's not too expensive, within the 20 arrondissements. So that way you don't have to travel too far when you get on your sightseeing mission or visiting the city. I stayed, I think, in the 8th arrondissement or the 9th, I can't remember. But where I stayed was close to the station, not too close, so that way you sort of don't get drowned in with the sights and the sounds. But I stayed in one of those areas, and it was very easy for me to commute from where I was staying to the train station. So I visited Paris twice in the past, and the first time I visited was during the winter month. It was in the month of December, and Christmas in Paris is just nothing short of being magical. It was so beautiful. Everything just sort of lit up and came alive. I think that's where some of that magic that the city is known for comes from, because Paris in December was just incredibly amazing. And the second time I visited Paris was during the summer months. I remember that I visited, I was there for about 3 months on the second occasion, because I had gone for a course And it was just so amazing. I remember getting trapped in one of the stores during the Independence Day in July. So I'd gotten into this restaurant to have a meal, and I was there for some time. I didn't know that the soldiers had barricaded a section of the road. So by the time I came out, I was literally trapped. It was so it was an incredible experience. Obviously, I found a way to just peddle out of there, but it was just incredible. Get trapped by the barricades. The summer months can get really hot, so it's best to make sure you have very comfortable shoes because there's a lot of walking around, queuing sometimes to get into one or two of the tourist attractions. So you must make sure you have comfortable shoes. A backpack is essential. Try to carry a water bottle as well. So that way you can refill your bottles in a lot of the beautiful fountains that the city has to offer. So again, one thing I noticed about Paris is their love for dogs. It's amazing. And you must seek permission before you touch any of the dogs, because not only are some of the dogs not into people touching them, but you also have to respect the owner's space and the dog space as well. They love dogs so much. I think it was when I visited Paris, I saw multiple breeds that I'd never seen before in my life. Paris has over 300,000 dogs, and some people actually say there are more dogs in Paris than children. So Paris is still home to the world's famous cabarets. So the burlesque and cabaret clubs have been in Paris for ages, and they form part of Paris history for centuries. Many are still active, like I'm sure all of us know about the Moulin Rouge is actually an existing cabaret in the city of Paris. So the Moulin Rouge is a major Parisian landmark. The bright red exterior and the windmill structure harks back to the former red light district in Montmartre. Another place to visit is Chateau de Versailles, and this was the home to King Louis XIV. It is about 12 kilometers from the city of Paris, and it is worth every strand of that journey. It is a beautiful, amazing palace that still has most of the arts, most of the paintings, all of the architectural design on the inside and intact all these years. Palace is about 19 kilometers west of Paris. It has millions of people visiting the palace and the gardens every year. Another place I would love to talk about is La Rue de Saint-Michel. So this is just a beautiful, cobbled, picturesque street right in the heart of Paris. It's got a lot of Greek restaurants there. You have all the the restaurant patrons would actually smash the plates on the ground to attract tourists to come inside, because they have this thing where after you finish eating, you're allowed to break your plate. So it's such a beautiful place. And around the Saint Michel is the weirdest street name I'd ever come across. It's called Le Chat qui Pêche. It's just such a beautiful and an amazingly quaint. So also one of the tips I would like to share on how to make your trip more enjoyable when you go there or before you go there is to learn a couple words of the language. Your bonjour, your bonsoir, your merci, your de rien, your enchanté. These words would help to make you feel more relaxed around the Parisians, and will also in turn make them feel more relaxed around you. Because remember, a lot of the times they have had their city invaded by tourists who have come to experience the beauty that the city has to offer. So sometimes they can come off as not being very friendly, but when they realize that you understand a few words or you're interested in the language, that sort of breaks their exterior and they become a bit more friendly, they become a bit more helpful. So that helps. Also, make sure you try to study some of the foods that you can enjoy there, because Paris is home to literally thousands of restaurants offering a diverse range of cuisine, ranging to fit any palate. So make sure you are accustomed to a few of the menu in French, so that way when you go to order, it's not a problem because my uncle visited Paris once and the only thing he understood on the menu was riz, and that was all he ate, riz, which is rice, for the whole duration of his trip. Another tip I'd like to share is when you're in a restaurant, try to be careful not to, if you do order, like if you ask for the le, they can't give you like expensive water. So always ask for the tap water. And in French, that is une carafe d'eau. So that way they know that you want tap water, because you can be drinking some really expensive water that you didn't budget for. So Paris is an amazingly beautiful city. I mean, what else can I say? It's impossible to cover all the sights and the sounds. You have Place de la Concorde, which is on the opposite side of the ACTA Triumph, which is just an amazingly beautiful landscape to experience and enjoy. Paris is beautiful. I mean, you have Montparnasse, Bienvenue. Also, they've got an amazing metro system. The metro system has over 400 stations across the entire network, and it would take you from point A to anywhere where you want to go. They're phasing out the paper tickets like they are in most European cities to like the Oyster ones used here. The metro also has that very vintage look and feel around for some of them, obviously, some, not the entire network, which is just really quaint, and it makes an absolutely beautiful pictorial masterpiece. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. Don't forget to like this video and definitely consider subscribing. And don't forget to make a date of ticking Paris off. Au revoir.